Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Manchester City beat Wolves today, 3-0. It was really nice. It was lovely. It finished a couple of hours ago now. And of course, I want to chat to some of you guys about that game. So please do join the Fan View Live if you don't know what this is. This is a chance where you guys can come and have a chat to me, basically, on the stream if you want to, and chat to me about your thoughts and your beliefs and your positives, your negatives, and everything in between about Manchester City currently. Of course, the topic today is City beating Wolves 3-0. And the big question I want to ask is, are Manchester City back? It does feel that way at the moment because that was a return to form, a much needed return to form. Of course, there's also the context of the Arsenal game. They did just beat Manchester United 3-2, unfortunately. I wish I wasn't saying that, but it's true. Sadly, they did just beat United 3-2. So if you want to chat about that as well and all that kind of stuff, you know where to head. If you are a patron, you've signed up to my Patreon, patreon.com/Esteemed Kompany. Head to the blog and you will find a link there. If you are a member, I'll put a link now in the chat. You can join in by clicking this link in the pinned comment, and you'll see it in the chat right now. And you can come have a chat to me. And it'd be nice to chat to some of you guys about the game today and how you feel about Manchester City after a few days. Of course, I have done my match reaction. It was good fun, man. It was good fun. I enjoyed the game. I did enjoy the game. I thought City were much better than they have been of late. I thought there were signs of control. There were signs of confidence returning. There were signs of the Manchester City of old, which is really, really nice. Now, I'm not saying City were at the scintillating best. Maybe we're not ripping up trees in the way that Arsenal are right now. You look at a team hungry, dynamic, young, effervescent, energetic, and that is hard to compete with. But ultimately, City were much improved on their recent performances. This was a game full of control, composure, no little ability, and ultimately Erling Haaland got his hat-trick as he always does. As 4 hat-tricks this season, which is remarkable. But that's what we wanted. We got the reaction from that Guardiola demanded, and given everything, that was really, really important. We had to get a reaction. We had to. And it's not always easier to get a reaction, you know. It isn't. And we did. That's ultimately the matters. Now, we're going to go to the first person who's joined in a second. I think Farsad's waiting in the green room, so to speak, and we'll chat about that. Don't forget, if you want to join patreon.com/Esteemed Company, or if you are a member, I know plenty of you are, there's hundreds of you, come and have a chat with me. I know I didn't schedule this very far in advance, so some people might just simply not be online, but there's plenty of chance to talk to you guys. So let me go and add Farsad. Farsad, 1 second, mate. Hello, how you doing, mate? You good?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Happier, of course, after that performance today. I feel like we needed that. What did you make of it?
Um, Honestly, just like for me, the biggest relief was like I know it's not good to pay attention too much to all the noise and stuff with like, oh, is Holland making City worse, this, that. I think it was just a relief to have all that shut up for a bit,
Yeah,
on top of just getting a result, which I think was finally um convincing again. I think the Spurs win, like despite it being a comeback win, it wasn't very convincing, and that on top of that with Pep's comments after the game, it was just nice to see the team kind of clicking a bit more
yeah.
than they have been recently. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like as of 10 minutes ago, I'm just like the worries are just starting to kick in. I was having a great evening until that, and now like I feel like every few days it's just looking more and more like is it gonna happen? Like is it really their year to do it? I don't know, man.
It might be far side, but ultimately, all we can do is look after ourselves, I guess, really, can't we? I mean, they might be too good, but I guess, I'd rather fail admirably, than fail miserably. And
Yeah,
I guess the way I would see it is that recently we'd probably be failing miserably, and at least with performances like that and the comeback against Spurs, there's an element of pride there. There's no shame in being second best currently to a team with 50 points after 19 games, because that's remarkable. It literally is an all-time
yeah,
level pace. But we got to be better, haven't we? And to touch on what you said, obviously in your response before, 2 questions were answered, weren't they today? The Haaland one, satisfying because that was just noise. But you're right, that nagging doubt can be there. And ultimately, the performance, it felt like Manchester City again, didn't it? And I guess
yeah,
even if we can't, quite match Arsenal at some point, we have to at least give Arsenal something to fear, don't we? And I think we did that
yeah,
today a little bit, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, it could have been a lot worse today if, again, like I think the biggest takeaway for me today is just like the team is starting to just look a bit more like ourselves, you
Yes.
know. And the least we can do is kind of, again, we've, like Pep's been saying it, the players have been saying it, like we've been in this situation before, but like the previous season, it's like it was kind of more relentless. You know, this season I wasn't like, it felt like we are kind of dropping off a little bit, um not as consistent, not as ruthless in like how we play. Not forget just about scoring like a fuck ton of goals. I mean, just like just the way that we played today, it seemed like we kind of, it seems like they won it again.
Yes.
Not to like question the mentality of the team. I could never do that, given what we've achieved in the last, 4 or 5 years. But just like that desire and that drive was there again, and that's like, I guess, you know, all credit to Arsenal. I'm not gonna try to take away from what they've been doing all season, but um,
Yeah.
least we can do is just like keep them on their toes
Yeah.
and push them all the way till the end. And if they do it, then fair play to them. But again, like if this is the way we're going to be playing, there's not much more we can ask from them.
No, and I think today, as you said, like that was, it was reassuring. It was a good performance. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it was incredible, but it was still decent, and it was good, and it was the control, wasn't it? The fact that we felt like City were creating chances again, and we were
Yeah.
working our way into the game, and we found a bit of rhythm, and a little bit more Christmas as well. I mean, how would you feel about Arsenal win the league this year if it happens? I mean, where do Arsenal sit in your hierarchy of hate? I guess like how do you
Look,
feel about Arsenal? Are you
if it's not gonna be us, I will take Arsenal winning the league over anyone. Like I don't want to see Liverpool win it again. Obviously, I don't want to see United win it or anyone else. I mean, let's be fair. Like I don't see, if it's not gonna be us, and obviously not Arsenal. If United manage to kind of keep, I mean, they're obviously building,
yes,
right? Compared to like last few seasons, they are building. They've got a good thing going with Ten Hag and kind of the team that they've got now. Um, if Arsenal win the league, given the ties that we've got with them, it could be worse. Like I love Arteta. I love Zinchenko. Like, oh my god, the pain I felt seeing Zinchenko
I
celebrate
know.
that winner. Oh my god, just like, I don't know, man. Like I'll take it. Obviously, I don't want to see anyone win the league except for us. But like, if they're gonna do it, it could be a lot worse.
How do you feel about this whole idea about the hunger? Like Guardiola talked about the passion, the hunger of the team, and I guess his point was that success can dull the senses, so to speak, and you make you not crave what you've already got so much. Uh, is this, in your opinion, something that we can manage, or does it need to see wholesale change? Looking forward.
I think I think it's I think I saw something that you said on Twitter. I think yesterday or day before, in that like there's only like, it's human nature kind of thing. Like, no, I wouldn't even put it on the players. It's just like it's just something I think that will just tend to happen with like the level of success that we've had and the consistency that we've shown. Like it's important to keep things fresh, and I think
Yeah,
like the great managers of all time have kind of maintained this. Just like it's important to keep things fresh and always uh, push not just the rest of the league, but push the team within itself, um, just to kind of go that, like, the biggest thing this season was Pep finally signing the extension. Amazing.
yeah.
I like anyone that claims to support City and say that they want Pep gone is, what are you doing with your life, man? Like what are you even talking about? Like it's never
Impulsive
gonna get
people on it,
achieved
really.
again.
Just impulsive. People are
It
impulsive. Emotional.
it's ridiculous. Like I think only whenever he does go is when we'll realize how good we've actually had it
Yeah,
during his reign. But that is the best thing that could have happened. Next thing will be, yeah, I think just for the good of the team, um, it like I wouldn't even say clear out. It's just like some fresh faces, some new energy, uh, will just be good going forward. Not to knock on any of the players that are currently in the team, but maybe they'll need a change of pace as well. Like a lot of the, for example, like with Bernardo,
yeah,
right? I've seen you talk about Bernardo a lot online, and in terms of like it's human nature. They've been around. Like I think the era of like players sticking around for 7 to 10 years in the same team. It's not
Well,
it's not really.
we forget that they've nearly done 6 7 years, a lot of them as well. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Edison. When was it? 2007.
17.
Yeah, so it's 6 years. You know, and people like Stones and Gundogan have been there for 7 years now. You know, like that's a long
Yeah,
time. So it's like
yeah,
it's a third, maybe half of your career. You know, so
yeah.
it's a lot to ask, isn't it, to make everyone stay for 10 years?
Yeah, and you can't really blame anyone for wanting another challenge because again, apart from the fucking Champions League, like we've done everything. We've we've won the league, four Premier League titles out of 5 years is unbelievable. I
Yeah,
I don't like that's just like to do it in this day and age when the league seems to be improving every single year. We did it against a Liverpool team that is also just as relentless. I don't know how many times I've cussed them out over the past few years just because of how much they stress me out. But what we've done on top of the cups that we've won, all the records that we've broken, the football that we've played, um, like it it's only fair if players will also need a change of scene in within their careers. Like we forget that like yeah, they play for our team, but they're also it's their career, it's
yeah, of
their
course.
lives. Big picture, let's look at it like it's what they do for a living. So if that's what they need for themselves, and it also like it benefits both parties, and I don't see what the problem is at all. I would have no like I love Bernardo, but I would feel no ill feeling towards him if he like obviously he feels like his time at City is at an end. Like he's done it, he wants something else. Fine. I don't know how accurate they are, but with Gundogan, I saw reports the other day about him wanting to go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Fine. You know, Gundogan alone, based on the last game of last season, do whatever the fuck you want to do, man. Like no one can say anything. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he's in the right as well, and I think the Bernardo thing is the interesting one for me because he's always been such a favourite for Guardiola, hasn't he? Like massively. Like, and I think it's for Guardiola to suddenly not really. Well, he's put him on the bench quite a bit, and I do wonder if Bernardo's public comments, about a month ago when he was talking a lot
Yeah,
about
yeah.
leaving again and a lot about being a bit frustrated. He implied he was frustrated. I just wondered if finally it started to seep up through, into his performances. Because I think there's only so many times you can say, right, I'll be going this summer, because he's obviously wanted to go for 2 years now. We know that. We're not stupid,
Yeah.
and I think, eventually, like when you miss out one summer and you say, I'll be going the next summer. That's only a year, in between. I know it's 2 seasons, but it's only a year. If you know what I mean. Like, oh, I'll be
Yeah.
going this summer. Then you wait, oh, I didn't go, but I'll be going the next summer. That's only a year between, so they can manage that. I think Bernardo was like, okay, whatever. But then when he came into this, what would be 2 years after wanting to leave total time, I think his head just, I think I think he's been affected by a tiny bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Of course.
which is like it's not ideal, but I think Guardiola has gone very much. I need Bernardo. I need Bernardo so much. Eventually, it's like, yeah, but I kind of also need Bernardo, not Bernardo who's not quite
Yeah.
here, and I think that's probably fair enough. I mean, ultimately, I think Bernardo probably, if he is one of those that isn't particularly hungry right now, I think he sort of probably needs to probably look at himself and go, well, the better I played, the more likely I am to get the move I want anyway in the summer. But he is on the bench notably, and that's to me that's not ideal. How are you feeling about the current lineup that we're doing? Because obviously there's no Walker, no Cancelo in the team. Foden apparently an injury, but it's pretty obvious that he's not involved as much at the moment.
Yeah.
Is it? Can you see a way back for these currently, or
100%. 100%. I like honestly like it's unfortunate it's come like the dip in form with the guys you've mentioned. It's unfortunate that it's come when it has, but we've seen it before, and I think they're too good to kind of they're too good. Pep is too good not to figure it out. Like I guess like there's a silver lining in everything because
yeah,
ask 50 City fans. I don't think more than half of them would have said like Rico Lewis would have had the kind of season that he's been having so far. Not only like you know playing well when he's been selected, but also like the kind of impact that he's had.
yeah, of course,
Just
yeah,
like consistently showing it at his age. It's great that we get to see it. But that being said, like we need our big game. Like when I think of like big game players over the last, or basically like Pep's time,
Sorry,
Walker is
Nicola just put the
yeah.
baby over my laptop and it completely distracted me massively. Sorry, Farsad. The wife
No,
being
no,
very
good.
professional. I'm live right
Priorities,
now.
priorities. I get it.
No, she's grabbed me some stuff in my office. She's just playing that behind there. Carry on, Farsad. Sorry about that,
All
mate.
good.
That's Nicola behind with little baby Ruben there.
Ruben, what's
Yeah,
up?
Farsad said hello. To Ruben, not you. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, mate. You were saying you just
No,
used to play.
I think like we need our big game players to come back,
Yeah.
especially like now. Like I know you keep saying it, but like now, like the sooner it happens, the better.
Yeah, of course.
This is you know the run in is not very far away. We need our players to do it. But if you ask me, like I don't think I have no doubts that they'll find their way back
Yeah,
into playing
I think you're
the
right,
kind
man.
of way that they have been.
I think you're right. Farside, thank you so much for joining me, man. I'm so sorry about the last minute there. Nicola just walked down the stairs
No,
as
of
well,
course.
hitting a little baby toy that just goes bird and makes bird noises and tweets and all that kind of stuff. And I was there trying to listen to you while all I could hear was this little toy just playing the American anthem or something like that. And I was like, I'm so sorry, man. Farside, you're a superstar, mate. Jan, thank you for joining me very much. And I'll catch you
Thank
soon.
you, man.
Cheers, cheers.
Yep.
Farsad, absolute legend. And I apologise to everyone for getting distracted there. That is the wife's fault. I don't know if you can all hear it in the background, but that's what living with a small child does. Every now and then you get interrupted by that kind of stuff. Don't forget, guys, you can join if you are Patreon, or remember you can click the link in the description. Not the link in the description, sorry, the link at the top of the comment there if you want to. I'm gonna go over to Ollie right now for a chat. Ollie, I hope you are good. 1 second. There you go, Ollie. How you doing, man? You good?
I'm not bad, thanks. How are you, mate?
I'm good. What's the Real Madrid shirt doing in the background? How dare
That
you?
is, it's a shirt that my mate gave me after they beat Liverpool earlier this year. Last year, even at the Champions League final.
I'll
So
allow
I
it.
just thought,
But the pain. I'm not healed. Anyway, Ollie, what did you make of today, man? And how are you feeling after the game?
I was just glad to see City putting a decent performance finally. It's after the savage words from Guardiola. I think all they had to do was go out there and actually show a bit of desire for the first time in a while. It feels
Yeah.
because the fast-paced start just really kind of settled me, because it was like, okay, they're not perfect yet. And even after the game, I think I put on Twitter saying they're not perfect yet, but they're going to get there. I think.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. Can we be perfect? You know what I mean? Like, can we reach what we want? Is it possible? I know it's a very open question, but I'm leaving it open so you can interpret that how you want to.
I think so. We've got. I think if you don't have faith in this City side to do magical things and pull off the unlikely, then you're supporting the wrong club, really, aren't you? With this lot, but there's still 18 games left for us, 19 games left for Arsenal. Anything can happen. And we know that as City fans. What was it in the first title winning season? Eight games left.
Yeah,
a fair few points behind, and we still won it in the most magical of circumstances. So, if it has to come down to that again, and all our hearts have to take another beating, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? But can we do it every single time though? That's the thing, is because Guardiola did say we can't always come back. And did you catch the Arsenal game by any chance?
I've seen bits of it.
Yeah, same. I watched the first half and the last few bits of it. They are relentless. They're a really good team right now.
They just look incredible.
That's the thing. I worry if we're capable of doing what we need to do, because sometimes the other team's just a little bit more hungry. Like, my theory with the hungry thing is that Guardiola can get a reaction, but it's if he can sustain that reaction, because eventually heads begin to wander. It's just human nature, and it might be that the very nature of at the end of the season is enough to make sure that doesn't happen, because if you're suddenly embroiled in something and you can sense it and taste it because it's so close, then maybe the players will keep on going. But I do wonder if they can match the youthful intensity that Arsenal have right now, because that is a hungry young team, isn't it? And you feel like a lot of the youth in Manchester City's team is sort of on rotation as opposed to the starters. Like, they're still we're very much leaning on the senior players still, aren't we? I would say. So we will see. Having said that, obviously today was still a step in the right direction, wasn't it? Who stood out for you particularly today? What was the difference for City's performance?
I mean, apart from Erling Haaland, who I'm sure everyone else who's going to feature on this will talk about and will want to talk about, so I'm not going to. I'll leave that to people. The two players that really impressed me today, Jack Grealish and John Stones. I mean, John Stones is just every week he's just putting in this case of being one of, if not the best central defender in the world. And then even when he went out to right back, and we've had problems with him playing at right back earlier this season, where it's just not looked as fluid. He just looked perfectly settled.
Yeah.
And Jack Grealish, seeing that guy perform with a smile on his face, being that kind of direct, needly winger that we all kind of hoped he would be for the last 18 months, seeing him be that player, even if he's not getting a goal or an assist, just head up, smiling, putting himself out there. I just love it. I love him. Everyone loves Jack Grealish. Of
course we do.
Because he's
Labrador,
the nicest bloke. Yeah, exactly. He's the nicest bloke in the world, and he's a bloody good footballer. So just seeing him, really perform and be impactful, and he's been kind of that guy with Riyadh for a couple of months now, really, since the end of pretty much since after the World Cup break. He's been that. They've been those guys for us. So just seeing Grealish and Stones, especially, they're just magical players, and just seeing them perform at a high level is just wonderful.
No, I agree.
And I think they carry the team with them as well.
To me, Grealish, it's very obvious that all of a sudden he feels like he belongs, and it's so much of football is just entirely between the ears. And I think Grealish is a man who was very aware of who he was and what was expected of him, probably too aware. And I think in general, you've got to be a fucking bastard to succeed in football. You've got to care about no one other than yourself, really. And I think Grealish a small part of him is caring about his own game, a little bit more, and he probably just feels like. Maybe, I know it sounds really weird, but maybe City sort of thinking a little bit has helped Jack Grealish. And what I mean by that is the expectations gone so low that ultimately it came down whoever was just, I like you because your attitude's right. And all of a sudden, Guardiola might have been giving Jack so much love because Jack's turning up, and Jack might be like, oh, Pep loves me, man. And all of a sudden he's starting a lot of games, and these people are frustrated at everyone else other than Grealish. KDB's dropping stinkers, and if KDB can drop stinkers, and if fucking Kyle Walker and Cancelo can be dropped by an 18-year-old, and maybe Jack's looking around and going like, well, actually, I'm doing all right here. I'm doing all right, and maybe there's an element of the circumstances could have conspired to actually make him feel pretty secure. And football can be weird like that. That might be nonsense, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some truth in it because look how happy he is right now, and he's earned that place. And I guess he's seen that the rest of them are human too, like he is, and he's there on merit, isn't he?
Exactly. I mean, he's one of those players I think every City fan can just feel happy for. I think when we all signed him, I think we all had different expectations of him, and the price tag commands expectation of a certain level. But just seeing a guy who, for even when he was struggling, just being so happy to be at Manchester City. And just absolutely loving the club, really getting into the spirit. I mean, when he scored that goal in the derby, even though we had lost the game, you could just see the passion in his face. He's taken to this club so wonderful. And for me as a fan, I've followed this club since I was 6 years old. I've been going to games on and off since 2004. I've seen this club be much worse. So just seeing players who give 100% no matter what is just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I can take a bad result as long as they've left everything on that pitch, and that's been the problem with the last couple of games. They haven't left everything on that pitch at times. The Southampton game is the prime example of that. But when players just go out there and they play with a smile on their face and they look happy to be here, and they're performing at a really good level, and you just know they're giving it everything, then I'm never going to criticize a player for that. I'm never going to criticize a player.
You're absolutely right.
And Rico Lewis is another example of that.
Yeah, of course. And Rico subbed off at half time, actually. Do we know why yet? I don't think we do we?
I don't know, but I think because Pep's spoken before when Phil was younger about managing his game time because they don't want to rush him with a load of games now and end up having injuries when he's 30.
He did make a couple of mistakes as well, didn't he? Actually,
yeah, he didn't have his best game, but he was perfectly fine. An 18-year-old. A recently 18-year-old who's going to struggle at times in this side, and that's absolutely fine because he's built up a bank of confidence in him against Spurs, against Leeds, against Liverpool, against Chelsea. How can anyone criticise him at the moment, even if he does make a couple of mistakes here and there?
Recently 18, I keep forgetting that because we say he's 18, and that usually when you say someone's age, you just presume they're settled as that age, and he's not. He's literally still he's a newborn. Legal adult, which sounds crazy, but I
can't remember the last time I've watched a player come into the City side and just smiled every time they're on the or even off the ball.
Yeah.
He just looks wonderful.
He started very centrally today. Like I'm not even sure if they did this whole like
It
false
wasn't
right.
really the kind of
He felt like he
typical.
was just playing a midfielder. I know he's been doing that for a while, but more so today. More like, no, you are just in midfield, and Stones is at right centre back, and it's a back three. It felt much more like that today. I don't know if it was doing. I'm sure. Some more tactical minded people may point that out, but it just felt that way. I was like, oh, fair play.
And it's just natural for him.
Oh,
It's
he's great. He's wonderful,
just the best thing ever.
And
Just the best thing.
do wonder how Kyle Walker's going to adapt to that, because all of a sudden he's gone from being Guardiola's number one, and I don't mean number one as in like I do. I guess I mean number one, right?
Been one of the first names on
but
the team.
He was,
for 5-6
literally,
years.
he was in that elite bunch of players that Guardiola relied on, not just as the right back, but as a core member of the team. He locked down the whole side, and all of a sudden Rico Lewis is just
I think maybe this is the wake up call he finally needs. He forced a competition from Danilo for 2 years. He's pretty much forced João Cancelo to start becoming a left back, and now he's got this young up and coming kid, and he's got to face him, and he's got to face him down. And I don't want to criticize Carl, because he's been an amazing player for this club. And the day he leaves is a day we become a poorer side, both mentally and on the pitch.
Yeah.
So, but he's got to take to this, like, say, Phil, when he had to break into the side with David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan and all those players. He's got to essentially do that with Rico now, because Rico is so good at that specific role, which obviously Guardiola wants. If Kyle can't step up to that level, then I'm sorry, mate, but tough luck, really.
We will find out, won't we, Ollie? Ollie, thank you so much
Exactly.
for jumping on, man. It's been
No
an
problem,
absolute pleasure. And
always.
of course, I will catch you very, very soon. Cheers, Ollie. See you, mate.
Mate. Thank you.
Top bloke, Ollie, as you guys can no doubt tell, don't forget, this is the Fan View Live, where you guys can have a chat with me. It's open to patrons and members, of course. Links in the top comment. I'm going to go over to Sam right now to chat about the game. 1 second, Sam. There we go, mate. Sam, American Citizen on Twitter. Sam, how are you doing, my friend? Are you good? And good to meet you as well. I can't hear you, Sam. You're muted, mate. It's definitely not my end, given I've been chatting to everyone. There we go. You coming on? No?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I think I can. Go for it.
Good.
You're a little bit quiet as well, though, I
having
think.
me on.
I think you're a bit quiet. Do you have a volume on your mic?
Yeah, let me turn up the volume.
Maybe just pull the
Is
mic
that
a bit
better or
closer
no?
to you. Oh, I think it's getting better there. There we go. 1, 2, go for it.
Let me try to turning up the volume a little bit more.
Oh, yep, I think you're definitely a little bit louder now, so we're all good. Can everyone hear him in the chat? Let me know if you can.
Volume.
I think you sound a bit louder now, to be honest, Sam.
Is it still quiet?
Oh, no, it's much louder. that was split the difference. Definitely got a bit peaky there.
Oh, sorry. Okay, is that better?
That's better, yeah. I think it's coming from
Okay.
your... To be honest, I think it's coming from your computer, mate, not your headset. Because when you went towards the computer, it was louder.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
It is louder towards the computer. I'm not sure if it's doing that or whatever. Either way, Sam, we can hear you, I think. It's all good. How are you feeling, man? What was your take on today's game? How are you feeling after that?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think that was a much needed win from us.
Yeah.
Especially after the recent performances, and after what Pep said after Tottenham, we really needed a convincing, dominant win like that.
Yeah, we did. Absolutely, man. And was that convincing and dominant enough for you? Because obviously it was 3-0 against the Wolves. I'm struggling, but it could have been more potentially. And it was still obviously maybe lacking real magic, but was it enough, to head in the right direction?
I think so. I think right now Pep is trying to find a balance between having control of the game and also creating a bunch of chances for the attacking players, but mainly Haaland as well. Because, when we talk about his goal drought, I think it's more been lack of chances for him, because he puts away his chances when he has them. And he hasn't put away a couple, but largely he hasn't had many chances in those games. So
yeah.
I think it's more of finding the balance between going forward and having control. And I think the team is starting to find that balance, and with more intensity as well. So I think they're starting to come into it. And that's kind of what excited me about this match more in the first half than the second half. The second half was, they had a couple more chances, but also they brought on a lot of guys. So it makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But I think overall it was good.
No, I agree. I think it was. I mean, I the best way I can put it is that I went through every single play and thought no one had a bad game. You know, I think a couple are obviously better than others, but in general, it's always a good game if everyone is at least a 6 out of 10. You know, everyone had a good, solid performance, and some obviously were higher than that. Some had 8 and 9s and so on. But in general, it was no one let anyone down. It felt like a team. You know, it felt like no one was carrying anyone in the team, and that to me points towards a message that's worked. You know, that what Pep said and what they've said to each other, perhaps in the dressing room, it's got through, hasn't it? You know, and is it sustainable? Do you think we can reach another level above this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the longer this team plays together, I think it was the World Cup definitely hurt, but it looks like for the last 3-4 games, we've just gotten better every match. So I think it's going to keep getting better. And, a lot of our players haven't been playing their best football as well. De Bruyne was good today, but he wasn't amazing De Bruyne like we've always seen. He's just been terrible in the last couple games. So De Bruyne's going to keep getting better. Walker and Cancelo have just not been good since coming back. So they're going to add something once they come back. So I think Bernardo hasn't been at his best either. So I think we're only going to get better, and Foden as well. I mean, there's just so much room to keep improving.
No, I agree, and you can only presume if you got a reaction out of most of the players today, well, all the players today, surely though he'll get a reaction out of the rest of them. And I've always felt in general, a rising tide lifts all ships, and if everyone else is happy and confident, it sort of seeps into the rest of the squad, doesn't it? In general, and people are happy when people around them are happy, ultimately, unless you're an arsehole, which there are people like that, But largely, people are happy if others are. So I do think City winning, well, just success breeds success. Confidence comes from winning games, doesn't it? And the performance the other day after the Spurs game and the performance today, well, it's pointing in the right direction, and that to me is key, really. And I guess we don't always have to win pretty, do we? If we keep winning games, then the pretty performances come. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. Not every game needs to be pretty, but it needs to be, not every game is going to be pretty. How many games did we play against Burnley in the past that just looked terrible and we won 1 or 2-0 and you just move on? But it's more or less, at least when it's ugly, is not looking shaky. We're not always going to score 3-4 goals, but you don't want to see a 1-0 match where they're constantly attacking and they're constantly getting chances and missing them, so it's more about the performance than it is the result. And the results come usually with performance.
Yeah.
But, on average, the better you perform, the better the results. So when it is ugly, just stop their chances at the very least.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you make of the Foden stuff? Now, of course, we don't really know what happened, so it's pure speculation at this point. The line was that he's got a knock on his foot or something like that. Mm-hmm. But even beyond that, he's not been in the team much recently. Guardiola's made loads of, comments about people in the squad and so on. Form hasn't been great. It did start the season pretty well. How are you feeling? What's your current, temperature on Foden's current status and so on?
I think it's something that he might be struggling with. I mean, obviously, none of us really know, but it's something he might be struggling with because this is probably the first time in his career where he, was a nailed-on starter, and now he's not. Before it was Foden's up and coming, and he's going to steal somebody's spot, and now it's, Foden's not in the team anymore because, the way Grealish and Mahrez are playing right now, Foden shouldn't be in the team. The way Foden's been playing, so he's gonna need to raise his level,
yeah.
And this is really the first time he's been confronted with that in his career, where he's going to have to raise his level to regain his spot back, and he just might not be dealing with that well. But that's sort of it's part of being a young footballer,
exactly,
in Manchester City.
No, I agree. It is, and that's life at the top, isn't it? Ultimately, and he's only is he still 22? It's ridiculous because he's already done how many seasons he's been involved in football with now? Like, it's quite crazy. I'm gonna quickly look now. I mean, we know he's won so many league titles or whatever, but this is his 1, 2, 3, 4, this is his sixth season.
Mhm.
He made his debut in 2017 in the Premier League, so this is his sixth season already at 22 years old. That's an awful lot of football. It's an awful lot of expectation. It's an awful lot of narrative, if that makes sense. His head's been through so much, and he's been the subject of so many debates in the World Cup for England, for his teams, and all this kind of stuff, that he's only human. That eventually, I guess they'll have some toll, some effect. And I'm not worried personally, Sam. I think he's too good for football, and I think he cares too much that anything that is going on, I presume it'll only be temporary. I guess you feel similar?
Yeah, I think so too. I think, it's just something he'll have to work through, and there's no better coach to manage him than Pep, and just trying to keep his head on straight. And, he loves this club more than anybody, really. And I think he's just gonna have to realize that he's got to fight, and this is how it is, and
Yeah.
this is kind of the life of being a footballer, because the path he's had so far is just not normal.
No,
And
it's
so
it's
so
crazy.
exactly. So this is part of life, and he's a good kid, and I think he'll get through it just fine.
I agree entirely, mate. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining me, mate. I'm going to jump over this guy if that's all right, but it's lovely chatting to you, man. An absolute pleasure. Catch you in a bit.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Lovely to chat to Sam there. I'm going to go head over to Guy, who's just joined the stream. 1 second. And we are live with Guy. My friend, how are you doing today?
How's it going, Stephen?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I can hear Ruben crying downstairs, and I'm just looking at his app, and he's due a nap in 1 minute, so I feel bad for Nicola there. But, Van's got to earn some money because she's on maternity leave pay, and it's fucking nothing, so...
Oh.
So, we're cracking on. We're good. But football was good, wasn't it, Guy? It was good.
Yeah, it was a good game. United didn't really do what we wanted, but can't ever trust them.
Yeah, fuck United, though, innit? You know what I mean? Like, if we have to lean on United to do us a favour, is it worth the favour?
We'll have to lean on someone if we were gonna catch Arsenal, because I kind of felt like this was going to happen since the beginning of the season. Everyone told me they were gonna fall at some stage. When I look up, I always want them to lose points as early as possible, and it's getting a bit tense here.
Well, it's getting to the point where, well, every game there's just less opportunities to lose points, and it's as simple as that. And if they win the next game, which I presume they will do, let's have a look at the fixtures. I don't actually know who they're playing next. Let's have a look. Arsenal fixtures. They've got it's Everton on next Saturday. Obviously, they play us. No, week Saturday. They play us in the FA Cup on Friday. That's going to be interesting, by the way, isn't it? Bloody hell! Is that going to be a taster, by the way, or is that irrelevant? What do you reckon?
They'll be definitely up for it, but I have a feeling that Arteta's gonna want to prioritize the league. I don't think they're gonna put their best 11.
They'd be mental to do anything other than that, I reckon. I think you're right. I think even psychologically, if they don't play their best team and City beat them, they can be like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. That's not a loss. You know what I mean? That wasn't us. Imagine they played the best team, City made a few changes and lost. I think that would fuck you up a little bit in your head. You'd be like, oh shit, the relentless juggernaut that is Man City is back. So I think it makes sense for many reasons to not play their strongest team.
Yeah, but Arteta comes from the Pep sort of pedigree, and Pep always had a midweek game in like some meaningless cup, and he would play their best team because you have to keep up the form of everyone. You don't want to change anything. So I think it's possible that Arteta is just gonna like you said, want to get a win on the board to psychologically knock City off the park.
But I think we'll beat him on Friday. I think we will do. It doesn't mean we'll win the league or anything like that or win the FA Cup. But I do think City will beat him. I don't know why. It's just a gut instinct. I think we'll turn up in that game, and fingers crossed we will do. But obviously, looking back towards the Wolves game today, what was the notable story for you today from the Wolves game? What stood out for you?
Well, Pep kind of asked the team to step it up a little bit, to show a little bit more passion. And I think it was a little bit sort of half-hearted passion. There was more intensity than the last game, and especially during the first half when the referee kind of lost the match. You really started to get a feeling of a little bit of both frustration, but a feeling that we're not gonna get any gifts from the ref here.
Yeah.
But after the first goal, the game was over. The game was completely over, both mentally.
It felt that
Wolves
way,
were
didn't it?
completely checked out.
That
Yeah,
was a good feeling. You feel it. Like City of like when City are at the best, the game feels over very quickly, doesn't it? And it did feel that way, didn't it?
yeah, exactly. It felt that way. And you know, a staple of Guardiola's early seasons, and something that maybe in the last few seasons I felt doesn't happen anymore, was teams just gifting us goals because they are afraid. You know, early in the during the Sane days, they would just pass the ball to Aguero to an empty net. Like the keeper would make so many errors, the defense would make errors because they were just so tired.
Yeah.
And in the last few seasons, you always feel like the opponent puts their best version in front of you. They don't make any mistake. You have to work so hard for every goal. And then this game, obviously, they gave us the third goal kind of free, and then they gave away 2 penalties. One of them was not given, but yeah, so it's good. It's good. I think we need more. I wouldn't call it luck, but we need to really drive it psychologically into the opponent's heads and force them to make mistakes like that.
Yeah, I agree. No, I
And
agree.
I think that's for me the thing that I took from this game.
Stones today was good, wasn't he? He was playing just about everywhere, it looked like, and he even had a bit of time in midfield at times. What do you make of his development at the moment? Because it feels like he's one of the first names on the team sheet, even ahead of Diaz and maybe Laporte and everyone else. I was just really impressed with him today, so I wanted to hear someone else hopefully share the same.
Yeah,
view.
it's not surprising. You know, I think a lot of us have been waiting for Stones to return from injury because it felt like we needed that little bit of leadership. His ceiling in a football match is so high. It's so much higher than I think all the center backs that we have. His ability to give like a 9.5 out of 10 in a game. And you saw it in what was it the Spurs game or the game before that? No, it wasn't the Derby. But one of the games he was just man of the match. He was the best player on the pitch.
No
And
sweets, to
I
be
like
fair.
players that I like players that have like the capability of turning up a really really fantastic performance. Obviously, I want the stability and all that, but I think it's always more exciting to have players that are just capable of being faultless.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stones is a great example of, what Guardiola talks about, that hunger to improve. And I feel like he obviously had. I think there's just a lot going on with Stones. I don't know, it might be personal stuff or whatever, but he felt like in his mid-20s. How old is John Stones now? He's probably about 28 or something, isn't he? I guess. But either way, it felt like.
And they all have the same birthday, right?
Oh yeah, they do, don't they? John Stones he's 28. Yeah, he's 28. He turns 29 at the end of this year. It felt like during his mid-20s, he obviously had some great performances, but he was still very much like. And fully settled, and now at 28, it feels like he's reaching his peak, doesn't he? And I think he's got several years. That's the crazy thing about it. Like, he's not a highly physical player. He is, but you know what I mean. He's like Thiago Silva that way. How he could play until he's mid to late 30s because he's so good. And I think he's becoming something of a leader of the team as well. Like, there's a calm elegance to his game, which it's just I think he's getting better and better and better. And go on, what you say?
Yeah, I feel like I'm never stressed when John Stones is on the pitch. I always know that he's capable. I think earlier in his days at City, especially his first season, you kind of got the feeling of, okay, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? I think since the second or third season, I have no doubts about him. The only doubts I have about him is he going to be fit? Because he's not always fit.
Yeah.
And he often, unfortunately, gets a good run of form, then loses a little bit of fitness, gets a little bit of injured, struggles to come back into the team. But whenever he is in the team, he is your best center back. Like every time, every period. It's just that I wish it was more consistent. But I really do appreciate that those players that turn up when things aren't going super well. And one of those players is Riyad Mahrez, of course.
So good at the moment, isn't he?
He's so good. He's so good. You know, the thing that I absolutely love about Riyad Mahrez, and I think if Grealish, we'll talk about Grealish, but if he manages to improve that side of his game, then he's going to be worth every penny, is that he's a right-sided winger who cuts in on his left. But every time you're kind of like, is he going to turn on the right and maybe release a shot on the right or release a cross on the right, like he did versus Spurs? He got an assist on his right foot and a goal on his right foot. And that introduces so much
He was doing it today as well,
problems
wasn't
for
he?
the defender.
He was going to his right today as well, which is fucking it's beautiful to witness. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a variety to his game suddenly again. He had it a couple of years back, but he's just found it again. It's almost like he looks faster. He isn't faster. He's just playing with so much more variety that if you got like you know, if you're not predictable, you look sharper. Simple as that, really. You know, because you're harder to stop, aren't you?
Well, you just saw the United game, and you saw their pathetic 100 million winger, who only has a left foot and cannot play on his right foot whatsoever.
He's crap, isn't he? Like
He's fucking shit.
He was not. He's obviously not like terrible. He's very Europa League like. But like the guy who that Leicester
he wasn't even the best winger at Ajax.
He's just
That's
like,
the crazy.
He just feels like the kind
like
of guy.
If you ask Ajax fans, they'll tell you he wasn't really even one of.
He's
our
like a
best
West
players.
Ham failed signing. That's what he reminds me of. You know, like someone West Ham would sign for 30 million,
Yeah,
and everyone
Felipe
go,
Anderson.
yeah. He's just a bit. What were they doing? Like he's just clearly, you know, like he just looks so one dimensional and like I don't know. I mean, it's not. He obviously scored against us with a wonder goal from long range, but like this is obviously. I guess maybe that's what draws attention to Mahrez a little bit because you look what you get and look what we got. You know, like Mahrez, the levels are just vastly different, aren't they? They're not even close.
Unless your name is Arjen Robben, you cannot get away with being that one-dimensional. You just can't. And yeah, that's the beauty of Mahrez. He's going to whip in a delicious cross on his left. He's going to curl it, you know, bottom corner. He's going to lay it back to Rico Lewis, which he did a bunch of times. We nearly scored off of those. But if you're not careful and you're not paying attention, you know, he's gonna chop his way inside. And I like I said, I think that's the side of the game, the weak foot. That Grealish, if he improves on that even a little bit,
yeah,
that is one of the major things that I think really could step up his game.
He's changed, though, hasn't he? Well, I say he's changed. I don't know if he has, but either way, he's better right now. I think Grealish is playing. This is easily, in my opinion, his best spell of Manchester City football. Do you share that, or are you not so sure?
I think Grealish is. I didn't used to think it, but I do think that he is. I understand when people say he's a Guardiola winger. I see it now. I understand it now. But I do still think if he improves that end product, if he improves the final cross, the final shot, the final ball, because he still has that tendency to get, you know, his shot blocked, or he nearly scored today, saved off the line with.
Yeah, that was so unlucky,
Collins.
by the way, because he beat
So
the keeper,
unlucky.
didn't he? And
yeah. It wasn't even bad. It was a good shot.
It was a good effort. It was. He beat the keeper, and like you aim to beat the keeper, but you don't really expect the defender to run to line from that point and get behind. But but he was, even though everything didn't come off, he was more direct and aggressive. And to me, he's playing. I said that earlier on. He's playing like a guy who looks like he feels like he's part of the team now. You know, like just like, oh, I'm not Jack, who's in awe of Kevin De Bruyne. Actually, Kevin De Bruyne is out of the team because he's been playing shite. So he's human like the rest of us, Jack. You know, and you're all allowed to have a bad game. But guess what? KDB will have a bad game, and Cancelo will be dropped as well every now and then. But Guardiola's picking you right now, Jack, because he trusts you. So that must have been. Conversely, it's shy for City that he's the only one that he trusts right now. But it's also good for Jack, you know, and Jack must feel quite emboldened by that, I can imagine, because, you know, he's realised that actually he does belong, you know, and he's not these aren't gods that he doesn't deserve to be around, and that to me could be ultimately in the long run a bit of a blessing for Jack Grealish, I hope, because he's started to add goals and assists recently as well. He didn't get one today, but he has been involved a lot more. Long may it continue. Guy, how are you feeling about the title race? Is there a race, you know, still? Have Arsenal got too much, or can we catch them?
No, I don't think they've got too much. I do think it's in their hands. I am not sure that we'll beat them twice. And I do think they have quite a good cushion, and they don't seem to be dropping points. But I do, obviously, it's still a race, especially when they have a game in hand. So it's still only like technically 5 points. They still have to prove that they can put those points on the board. I think they're favorites, but we'll see.
We will see indeed. Guy, thank you very much for joining me, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. You're a superstar, man. I'll catch you very, very, very soon.
Thanks, man.
Guys, thanks for joining me on this video. It's been hugely appreciated. You guys, of course, have the like button to the channel. I do genuinely mean that. I know that sounds like an empty saying, but I do mean it. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to make videos with you guys. It's really, really appreciated. I enjoyed today. Shame about the Arsenal result, but ultimately all you can do is watch City try and improve. And even if it doesn't end up being enough, I'm still not sure if it will be. I think that's fine. Ultimately, football is about evolution. Football is cyclical. Players do move on. Players do lose their focus every now and then naturally. And I do think City have got a little bit of the fight back, and I think it did help the heart-to-heart. But I do think City are in the middle of a transition. So many players have been at this City team now for 6-7 years, and that naturally their heads will begin to wonder. I don't think they're consciously doing it, but I do think where we are right now, it could be the beginning of the next set of Manchester City. Remember the big change that we got 6-7 years ago? Well, some of those players, they were part of that. Naturally, time could be catching up. I could be talking bullshit there, by the way, but I do think we are seeing the next change. But as long as City chase Arsenal down with class and play well, that's all you can ever ask for. And today we did play well. We got the 3 points, of course. Arsenal did as well. But more of that. Play well, get a good points total, and see where we are at the end of the season. And I will be happy, man. Like I am right now for you guys watching this video. Thank you very much. Please do hit the like button. Please do hit the subscribe button. And I'll catch you tomorrow for an episode of 5 things that we learned from Manchester City's 3-0 victory over Wolverhampton Wanderers. It will contain, of course, Erling Haaland talk, because you got to do it. Guys, watch a match reaction from before. I'll catch you very soon. Have a lovely Sunday evening, you know. Last of Us back on tomorrow. Can't wait. Looking forward to that. I'm really into it right now. Anyway, bye-bye.